Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another session of World of Tanks Blitz with me, your host for the day, Bushka. Bushka on Blitz. That's me. You probably noticed. That's the name of the channel. That's who you're talking to. That's who you're listening to. As the Yakovs, I believe the Yakovs go herring down the middle of the river here. We'll have to pay close attention because we're talking about a tank which I thought I loved, but I've actually come to not so much love as want to sell. This is the Tiger 2. Before we begin, obviously, if you want to have a chat, come along to the Asian server forums for Blitz on the English-speaking section of that portal under game discussion. Always a lively and friendly bunch there. Come and say g'day. Mention yourself in game. Say g'day in game. Although I believe my friends list is just about full now, so I don't know if I'll be able to add any more people. Always happy to have a chat and plat, though, if the opportunity arises. And follow me on YouTube, at Bushka on Blitz. And finally, please subscribe to the channel while you're here. Always helpful to have that. This tank, we'll go through the big three, the armor, the weapon, the mobility, all those kind of things. And I really want to preface this by saying it's not a bad tank. It's certainly not it's not the kind of tank that I would say is disastrous. You can certainly hold your own in this tank, but after reviewing a few tanks lately, which I believe are pretty exceptional tanks, the IS-4, the KV-3, the T-44, the IS-3, this tank does not have that same kind of quality about it. And it's surprising and a little bit disappointing because the tank after it, the E75, has a very singular purpose and is so strong, but the Tiger 2 just doesn't get there. Now, I really like the Tiger 1. Its gun performs in an outstanding fashion, and you can use it as a very good heavy support tank and even side scrape in a pinch. And you should be able to do that with the Tiger 2 because the gun does actually have outstanding accuracy for a heavy anyway. You can see 0.34 dispersion. It's got 310 alpha and 225 AP, which is the same pen as the BL9 on the IS-3, and 285 on its APCR, so it can really pen hard. 5.47 rounds per minute. Again, that's right up there. That's fine for heavy. And a 2.3 second aim time, which is outstanding. So it's a very good weapon to actually snipe with for a heavy tank, which you don't often hear. So you could use this tank as a secondary line support tank just for the gun alone. There is an issue with that, though, and it's the way the game works. It'll quite often match up heavy to heavy tank destroyers and mediums and try and have equal numbers of those tanks in the game situation. So you may come in games where you've got two heavy tanks in Tier 8. One of them will be an IS-3 and the other one will be a Tiger 2. And the Tiger 2, if the Tiger 2 doesn't go to the front of the line on certain maps, then no one's going to go to the front of the line and they'll just march straight through. So you're quite often called upon to shoulder that load. Now, you'd expect a tank that looks like this to be able to side scrape its bum off, because the E75 certainly can, and you can even side scrape quite confidently in this tank. However, for reasons that elude me, the upper glacis on this tank is just not that strong. You can see the angle on the E75. Now, that's what makes all the difference. The steep angle, it's almost like a knife point there, and the knife point just isn't there on the Tiger 2. It's a lot flatter. It doesn't have that slope on either the lower glacis or the upper glacis. So on the E75, you can bounce an awful lot of shots at a slight angle. On the Tiger 2, you have to angle the tank quite heavily, and your sides just don't have the armor to support a heavy angle on the side. What does that mean to you if you're Joe Bloggs and you want to drive this tank? Well, it means that if you go straight with this tank, you are going to get drilled, absolutely drilled through the front. If you go and angle the tank slightly in open ground, you're going to get drilled in the side if you make that front invisible or bouncy. And that's not the case with the E75. You can angle that E75 versus lower pen tanks to absolutely bully them. You can't really do that in the Tiger II. It's not that kind of tank. Now, all the other tanks I've been running with lately and doing video reviews on have moved my win rate upwards while I've been playing them. That wasn't the case with this, and it's the reason I titled the heading screen codename FML, or F My Life, basically, because it just doesn't get there. I didn't have any 4K games in this, and I always do in Tier 8 tanks, like the IS-3, and there was none of that. There was, for the most part, I didn't have a lot of big bouncing games where I used a strong armor profile and ability to side scrape. You can side scrape in this tank, but you've got to be absolutely perfect, because, as you'll see in the examples I'm going to show you, if you don't side scrape absolutely perfectly with this tank, or I'm not brilliant at side scraping. I'm not claiming that. I am not an amazing player. I tend to play smart because I don't have some glorious skill set. So you may well be able to control this tank to the point where you can make it work for you. But I ask the question, if that's the case and you're that good, then you wouldn't be bothering to drive this tank. You'd be driving something that's outstanding and really quick, and I don't know. I just don't think that it provides the kind of frontline heavy feel that the developers wanted it to provide. And it's interesting, we just reviewed the IS-4, and that's a very low profile, diminutive looking tank, but it's rough and tough as nails. Same with the IS-3. If we have a look at the IS-3, you'll see, look at that, it's just dwarfed by this tank. And the IS-6, which again it has, and this is what we talk about with slope, look at the slope on the front of that tank. It's a thin armor figure for the front plate, but it's so sloped that it bounces. The Tiger can't do that. It doesn't have the slope. It's just heartbreaking, really, because I loved this tank when I got it. I wasn't very good at the game, and the gun's just brilliant. The gun doesn't let you down. You can use this if the need arises as a second tier support tank, and it does fine. And it's one of the reasons why in tier 10 games with this tank, you can actually run around behind the big dogs and give them a hand, and the weapon works just fine. But that's not the playstyle I'm looking for. If it's the playstyle you're looking for, then this may well be the tank for you. Now, you'll see, if we have a look first and foremost, we're going to have a look at the gun. You'll see the alpha on it, 310, not massive, and 5.47 rounds per minute, but it's a reasonable size alpha, and it's got a great degree of accuracy. If you look at the BL9 here, 225 is your pen on your standard, only 4.37 rounds per minute, so you're missing over around a minute on the Tiger. 400 alpha, 0.40 dispersion, 3.4 second aim time. So that's for getting up close and personal and brutal. Let's have a squeeze here at the T34, and you'll see what I mean. The 120mm, 4 rounds per minute, 248 pen, which is outstanding, 400 alpha, 0.35 dispersion, but 3.4 second aim time. So you can see they've pigeonholed the Tiger into that strong sniping kind of role, second tier support tank role. And I don't like that. At tier 8 in my heavy, I want a monster. I want something that can actually hold the line when it's called upon. And I don't feel that the Tiger can. Now, I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me, but I'm going to support this with some facts. I worked very hard for this review at getting good gameplay, and I had to spend so much time to just get mediocre, in my opinion, games. It doesn't seem to do the damage that you can do with this BL9 or the T34 or even the T32. It's how the mechanics of the game work. Generally, you'll have a big alpha gun on a heavy tank, and it will. KV4 is an example of something that doesn't work like that. but at the same time, it can side scrape better than any tank in the game, realistically. You have the big alpha gun. You hide behind an obstacle, or you go hull down over an obstacle, and you use that gun to deliver your payload, put the damage into the enemy. Then you withdraw your tank from view, and you basically use the best armor of all, which is not being seen. The Tiger II theoretically would be able to do that if it could side scrape correctly. It doesn't have huge alpha at all. It seems very much like they have directed this tank to be a support heavy. Now the M103 kind of fits that role. It can go hull down, but it's not got the T-32's hull, the T-34's hull, or the ST-1's hull. But it's very, very manoeuvrable for a big tank. It's got an excellent rate of traverse for a heavy tank, and it can keep most mediums in front of it to a degree where it can get out in the flanks and push and be a heavium, or like an IS-8 can. Tanks that don't have enormous big derp like an E100 or a KV3 or a T150 or, that kind of tank. But the Tiger II just does not have that traversability. It does not have that pickup. It doesn't have the engine speed, and it certainly doesn't have the profile. So all in all, it can be quite frustrating. So here you have the Tiger Tier 8, as viewed from the point of view of an IS-3, which has 225mm of penetration, which is exactly the same as the Tiger II's gun. So this is a kind of pen level you are going to see all the time in Tier 8 games. And yeah, everyone in Tier 9 and Tier 10 will smash straight through the front of this thing. 200mm of effective armour on the front, which is boggle. 150mm is your plate, and then the slope increases it to 200. And you can get Tier 6s that will get 200mm of effective pen with their APCR, as you're about to see in some of the examples I am going to show you. And your issue with this is once you try to angle away, which is good solid play, if you get it to there, you've more or less taken out the issues in the front. 21% chance of a pen there, so not a very, very reliable shot at all. But your lower glacis is still pretty much 100%, always going to pen all through there. The problem is your lower glacis is huge, very easily penned, so you've got to turn further to turn that red. So if you angle it like that, which is a very steep angle, you'll see that's it's past 45 degrees, to get that red upper glacis, red lower glacis, your whole side is a pen at under 150mm. So you've got to keep the red on the side and red on the front. And this is just with standard AP. If it goes to APCR, watch. Oh yeah, it's all on the table. The thing is a sea of green. It's begging to be penetrated, said the actress to the bishop. And this is a big issue. And the reason it's a big issue, if we have a look at the E75, and we'll look at the E75 from the point of view of the IS-8. And the IS-8 has a comparable Tier 9 tank. Here we go. The 122mm gun, M62, 258mm of penetration, and frontally with plain AP, it's all red upstairs. The only thing you've got to worry about is your lower glacis. But if you angle the tank, you can see there it becomes a very difficult pen, the lower glacis. It becomes 66% chance at the best. But you can have the red upper plate and red side plate, which means that you can side scrape, you can hide that lower glacis. If you try that angle on the Tiger II, then heaven help you, because all that side is suddenly in play. And your front drive wheel area there is suddenly in play, and it's just very, very tough. And heat doesn't change the thing much, because it's angles here, not the actual armour thickness. The armour thickness at the front is 160mm. That's only 10 more millimetres of armour than the Tiger II has. But it's the freaking slope on the thing. Look at it. It's got a 61 degree angle. The Tiger II has a 40 degree angle. And that means that there is much less effective armour. The effective armour at the front of the E75, even though it's only got 10mm more of real armour, is 333 millimeters. The effective arm at the front of the Tiger II is about 200 millimeters. That's 120 mils difference. And that's where the real secret is. And that's why I was quite disappointed in the abilities of this tank, the Tiger II, to actually perform in terms of a frontline heavy. Now we're going to have a look at a quick video to illustrate exactly what I'm talking about in gameplay. Now here we are, and we've pushed forward because basically this is what I'm talking about. You're the frontline tank. If we hadn't pushed up here, there is a T-29, a Tiger II, a medium, they're all coming. And we're trying to side scrape off this wall with the Tiger II to stop the advance and actually give the guys at the back a chance to survive. And you can see I get a good angle on here. I get the side very flat to his the point of view of his weapon, and that's good. But that's a perfect angle. That's absolutely perfect. This angle is pretty good. It's just not good enough. There's so much green for him to hit. And you're going to see it. It's absolutely crazy that I am a frontline tank here, doing my absolute level best to... I've put lots of effective fire into that T-29, and we did over 3k damage this game. And we held for as long as possible. We were the last guy out, got absolutely smashed for it. That Tiger II's got a stock turret, so I'm not even sure he's actually got the top tier gun. He may well just be firing the long 88 that goes on the Tiger 1. Now, you can see here, a lot of people at this tier, they won't even know how to side scrape properly. They're going to be trying things out, and if look at this, that's the upper plate of a Tiger II. That's what it looks like. It's very, very thin. And I'm angling and it's not making any difference. He's not bothering, which is probably saving himself wear and tear on his fingers, because it's just not worth the trouble. I mean, you can see I've got a really straight angle set up with that, the edge of that building in front of me, just trying to work it, and it's pointless. It just goes through. I mean, yeah, it's not much to do. I'm absolutely jack of it by now. I mean, I'm not playing terribly badly. I'm just doing the right thing. And the right thing just doesn't cut it. And this is the one that really blew my mind. Coming up right here. This tier 6 medium tank. This VK. Okay? I'm a tier 8 heavy. Now, I've bounced one. Fair enough. Put another one into him. I'm angled. And lo and behold, he's gone straight through there and busted my track. Now, where he's gone through, if you look on the video inset, is where the front track is, there, where it turns green, right on the front of the track. Now, the problem is he can either shoot my lower glacis or through the drive wheel. And there's a tiny section that is the right angle where he can't shoot through either. You have to get that angle perfect on the fly with a moving target at all times. There's only one little section of angling that will work. Using APCR, that tier 6 medium can go through that drive wheel or through that lower glacis. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I have a real issue with the armour profile of the Tiger II. So you end up with a situation where you have a heavy tank that performs much more like a support tank. It's versatile, it's got a little bit of versatility. You can see there that's another Tiger II, and we're firing AP and we're going through him happily. Just plodding away, he's angled, very, very easy to pen. It's not tough. And you're really looking for tough when you're driving a heavy, heavy tank. It's a big, heavy tank, weighs a hell of a lot. It's got a nice gun, and obviously that's brilliant, but it's all right having a nice gun on a super manoeuvrable tank that you can put to nice positions and run around with, but it's not a very manoeuvrable tank. It's quite slow off the mark. It's a heavy tank. It's right in line with the E75 in terms of manoeuvrability and acceleration and top speed. I mean, you can get up to 40 on a downslope, but for the most part, you're not going to be the first tank there at any point in time. And I just think the trade-off is too big. The gun's nowhere near good enough to... Like, you can have this gun, well and good, but if you're not going to bounce any shots and you can't hold the line and you can't play it as a heavy, and it's not manoeuvrable like an IS-8 or an M103 or something where you can actually get around and traverse and get in front of stuff, then it just doesn't really work for me. Anyway, I'm going to show you how I believe it should be played if you want to persevere. Let's go and have a look at some gameplay. Now here we are, as usual, running around Lost Temple. Now because of the way the weapon works and the fact that it's quite accurate, I like to get out a little bit on the left-hand side and give yourself some flank shots. I'm angling there for that Cromwell, just in case I get the opportunity to really pump some. He moves a little quick. Now it's a heavy tank, so it fires AP. Does not fire APCR, so velocity through the air is not fantastic, and as such it can make long-range sniping a little bit of a pain in the bum, but it's got good pen values, nothing to snigger at. 225 and 285 on your APCR is higher than the BL9, which is 265, and that's really the league leading weapon for this kind of tier. Most people love the BL9, which is a nice weapon. And you can see you can pen IS3s in the side. Good shot, sets him on fire. You'll note here, I am not on the front line. I am working flanks. I'm trying to use it almost like a medium tank, and trying to utilise that good aim time, that good quick firing weapon. Well, it's not quick. It's quicker than an IS3, and it's quicker than a T32 and quicker than a T34, not a T32, sorry. And that's the kind of weaponry you're looking at. It doesn't have the big derp, and look at that. There you go, straight in the back, no worries. And as such, it can be hard to do big damage games. I did not get any big damage games on this tank. Generally, if I'm playing 40 games or so, and I don't muck around. If I'm going to review a tank, I'll give it a good 30 to 40 games to really get the review right and make sure that I'm playing it all right. And I expected this tank to just get better and better, but it didn't change. I more or less had the same feel right throughout, and you can see that the gun performs really well. And I don't think that I'm playing it terribly. You just get penned from bloody everywhere by bloody everything. Everything that shoots you goes through. And I've put myself in a bad position here, more out of frustration than anything else. And I think I quite often come between, I want to play it as a heavy tank, and I play it as a heavy tank, but it just cannot perform. Even angling, you can see I put my back against a rock there, even angling in the open, it just doesn't pull out the mustard. Working on my angles, and I'm lucky someone turned up to give me a hand, and that could have ended up, if that had been an IS3 or a T32, or a KV4, or God, anything like that turned up down there as a tier 8 heavy, that Panther would have been absolutely dusted. Would probably not have penned much at all, but with this tank, that's just the difference. And you can see it performing well anytime it has to take shots at range. The gun's outstanding. It's a low aim time for a heavy, and it performs much like you'd expect the Tiger 2 perform gun-wise after playing the Tiger 1. But for whatever reason, I find the Tiger 1 much easier to play than this tank here. And I'm not sure why that is, because, well, realistically, the Tiger 1's not a brilliant side scraper either, but maybe its weapon's so much better than its comparable peers at Tier 7 in terms of accuracy. The Tiger 2 doesn't look as inviting. But if you want to play it as a ranged sniper, you'll be fine. Now, I included this because my mantra is always go base here, cautiously go base. But it just doesn't have the ability to go out there on its own in a Tier 10 game. It doesn't have the speed, it doesn't have the armor profile. I am forced to go in this game wherever the rest of the team goes. What it does have, though, is a very, very accurate, very quick aim time weapon for a heavy tank. And you can see that come into its own here. Will get away quite a few hits. Now, that E50M, he's got a weak turret. And he probably thinks he can get away with it with me. We're using APCR, so we've got 285mm of penetration on that APCR. And we're just going to keep going through his turret. But once he zeroes in on us, even though we're side scraping and we're only giving him a little bit of an angle, he'll start penning us. He's left himself wide open though. Look at that. Look at the size of that lower glacis. Now we're right in against that wall. You wouldn't think that there's much of an angle there, but there is. He goes straight through the front because I had it incorrectly angled. You've got to be absolutely perfect. I mean, look at that. That's a tier 10 medium. I should be expecting this. But I just cannot for the life of me get the right kind of angle to negate that E50M. But you can see most heavies would have no chance here, not because they don't have the penetration values, but because their aim time, like if you're using a big dirt Russian gun, 3.4 seconds aim time, it'll kill you stone dead. There we go, down the hill for the IS-7, and we're just, if you can get weak spots, you can hit them with this tank. And I guess that's what I really want to illustrate with this. This is a tier 10 game. And we're holding our own and contributing strongly to the team simply because, well, for starters, all these numpties have stayed bridge. So it really irks me to have to go bridge for any particular reason. But you just cannot go lone wolfing off in this tank. Like if it was a T32, I could hull down somewhere. If it was an IS-3, I could set myself up all over the place. And look at that E75. I've got 285mm of penetration in the barrel right now, and there is nothing popping up over there that looks remotely like a shot I'm going to hit. And you can see he's got a good side scraping spot, and that's what I'd like to be able to do in the Tiger 2, but you just can't really do it against these kind of guns. I'm looking there and I know that there's a whole lot of pen over there and I don't have the hit points to go messing with those boys. Would love to nail that object, but I'm just a little bit late there on that one. Oh, U-turns. Thank you. There's our first kill. Wonderful stuff. The 75 is such a tough tank. And that IS-3, I mean, this is why you don't go bridge. Look, we're on a 79 cap here. 81 cap. These guys couldn't win the game if they wanted to. I mean, we could let them drive right now, get away scot-free, and they still couldn't disrupt the cap. This is, you let everything go. You let go of all map control when you just all sit at the bridge. Anyway, not much you can do in this. If you're driving a Tiger 2, and it's a tier 10 game, don't go your own. You follow around the big boys. Otherwise, you can get yourself in all kinds of grief. Nearly 3k there in a tier 10 game. So nothing to scoff at. Certainly well worth contributing to. Here I am with Storm Aegon. And we're pushing hard down the right flank. He's in the IS-6. We're angling here. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The T-34 has a lot of pen. He's got a big slow aim time, only 4 rounds a minute, but by God, the T-34 can pen. Nearly 300 meters of pen, 300 millimeters of pen on its gold. I think it's 245 millimeters of pen on its standard AP. You know, you're just praying for bounces. You finally get one. Thank God for that. Great tank, that. Big alpha. Good accuracy too. Great pen. Lots of gun depression. Very, very solid tier 8 tank. Unfortunately for him, I've got a good platoon mate who's working with me, and he's gone straight up behind him and pumped 2 big doses of alpha right up his date. And the rest of the team's swarming around as well. Now, this theoretically is a position that suits this tank. you can see big open spaces. We're angling, using APCR there just to make sure we get that shot in on the IS before he disappears. I mean, it's a nice looking tank. I really do like the look of it. And we're still going through the motions. We're still angling everything, you know, just in case. I'm worried about that tiger out there on the right. And I know that somewhere up in the hills there's someone who's got me zeroed in. That T44 there on the left. Now, I don't know if I'm spotted or not, but I'm more than happy to not be a numpty and actually pay attention to my mini-map, because you get free shots like this. If you just watch your mini-map, it'll generally provide you with all the answers. And he drops 260 odd hit points just running into me. I shouldn't be on a reload here. I don't know why I pressed the button there for that one. Storm Aegon kills Gay Men in the T150. Not a slightly inflammatory name, that one. Good on him, though. I always wonder about names like that. Is it like a teenager being excessively homophobic? Or is it someone standing up for what's their right in life? All these things I'll never answer. So yeah, you can see the tank performs well in plat. It's nice to play. You can see we have to judge a shot. We don't have our gun elevation, so we have to wait for him to come into the shot. Rip straight through him. Nice looking model on that T3485 Victory. I really like that. But Tiger 2 looks like a great tank, and it performs okay. And that's more or less the kind of game you have all the time. 2.5k, you can hit 2.5k in a game. You can hit 3k in a game. It's really hard. You've got to fire a lot of shots to hit 4k or 5k in a game, which you can do occasionally in the IS3s and such. And I'm sure it gets done by a lot of other people, just doesn't get done by me. Yeah. And it goes right back to the mechanics of the gameplay. You've got a T-34, it's 4 rounds a minute. It fires a lot slower than this. But it can hull down, so it can fire, it can take the time to aim at 3.4 seconds in its aim time while it's hull down, while it's in a strong position. And then it can hit with a big bounce of derp. You don't get the opportunity to do this. You can hit weak spots like that. I mean, that's a T9 tank, and that's hitting weak spots just well. And you've got to be really aware of the map, because you can see there on my right, I'm obviously open to incoming fire. I just know that that tier 9 is really important to kill, so I want to get it. Now, the mechanics of the game, where was I? A T-34 can do that with big derp, and a E75 or something like that can side scrape very well like that, or an ST1 or a KV4. So they can deliver the package a lot safer than I can in this tank. When you can theoretically hide your weak spots, pop out, boom, peek a boom style, and then go back, you minimise the inherent risk in taking the shot, which is your 3.4 second aim time. Well and good. That's what you pay. That's what you pay your money for. You have to take that risk, but for the most part, you're hidden behind cover the whole time when you're not firing, which means you can't be hit when you're not firing. It's very hard to effectively cover this tank when you're not firing. Now, there's some tier 9s and some tier 8s down there, and you can see this is where it excels, when it gets on a flank and it gets an opportunity to pump some bullets out there. It's accurate. Its aim time's quick. I mean, you can see the aim time slipping down here, that IS8. And we know we've got to get moving. We don't have to wait very long. We're just trying to hide behind that truck now. There's a T-44 on the right. Always angling. I mean, I don't stop angling. I'm using the terrain around me. I'm angling to the T-44 behind a truck. I know this is a bit steep, this angle here at start, but I move it back. I'm always thinking about it, and I'm always putting the tank in positions to be effective and to be successful. It's just no matter how much you do that, sometimes you'll still get penned quite convincingly by guns that you don't really expect to be penned by. You can see we take the track out just in the last second there. There's that IS. And it's a pleasure to shoot the gun. It is a really nice weapon. It behaves very well. I mean, occasionally it doesn't work, but it's only because I'm hitting the wrong spots. It's not because the gun's doing anything wrong. It's not got that mad dispersion that you get on other weapons. And that E75 and I combine to finish off ZT44. You can see the two tanks look so similar, and I think they look glorious, but just perform very differently. So there it is, guys. That's the Tiger 2. I could recommend it still. I could recommend the line still. It's certainly something I believe you could grind through and it won't hurt you. It's not like you're dealing with a tank that's an absolute dud from the word go. It's not a terribly tough grind. All the weapons in the line are adequate. You've got to get the stock turret out of there ASAP because the cheeks on the stock turret of the Tiger 2 are horrific. But is it a tank that I would go back to? I say no. I look at Tier 8 and there's two very nice premium heavies there. There is a very nice heavy in the IS-3 and I may even rebuy the T-32. I'll probably sell the Tiger 2. Now, it's not a scathing indictment, but it's certainly true that that's not something I say normally after one of my reviews. And it's not that it's a terrible, terrible tank. Like, I think the Panther is a terrible tank. It's just that I don't have the time to play it. And if I'm going to play a Tier 8 heavy, I've already got 3 other Tier 8 heavies I'd play before I play this one. Which is sad, but there you go. We've only got one life. We've only got so much time to use. We've got kids, mortgages, work, basketball, golf, swimming, beach, dogs, sport, running around, thinking about life, playing guitar. All these things to do. I don't have time for the Tiger 2. So unfortunately, it's probably going to go the way of the Dodo. That said, I hope you got something out of the review, and I hope you've learned to at least minimise the pain on the way through the grind. If you work at it, you can certainly get it out wide in the flanks or support Tier 10 tanks or even support other heavies. Don't charge it up to the front line. Your armour just does not cut the mustard to do that. Anyway, until later, guys, I'm Bushka on Blitz. Bushka on Blitz. Thanks very much for having me along. Don't forget to follow on and subscribe to the channel. Check us out on the forums or follow me on Twitter. It's lovely, as always, to talk to you, even if it's only a one-way conversation for the most part. Cheerio and stay safe on the battlefield.